What's going on, YouTube? Tom here with Hot Rod Watch TV. Let's do a little daily blog here. Out here in the sunny Panama City Beach, Florida. Just want to apologize. The video I done on the 2014 Camaro that I got, kind of after I watched the video a little bit, kind of feel like I phoned it in a little bit. Wasn't a whole lot to talk about with that car other than it being new to me. There's not a whole lot of modifications to the car. So there really wasn't a whole lot to talk about, unlike my truck, my Silverado, which I've got a lot of modifications to. But I guess today I want to talk about my first Camaro. My first Camaro was an 86 Z28 5.0 port fuel injection. First year of the port fuel injection on the Camaros. I bought it used from a car lot for $2,500. Try to find that now. You ain't gonna find them on a car lot for no $2,500. Car ran excellent. I was ecstatic when I got that car. It's one of the kind of a dream car deal. Wasn't a T-top model, so it had a good solid unibody to it. So it made it really nice. It was really fun. A lot of my friends that had hot rods couldn't believe how fast that car really was. I had a buddy of mine had a 72 Nova. He was dumping money into building motors, and off the line, he couldn't hang with it with his 350 he'd built. Had that car for about 6 months before the computer crapped out. After the computer crapped out, I ended up I pulled that motor out and put in a regular 350, carbureted 350 motor, which lasted about 6 months before it started having issues. The guy had built the motor, didn't do a very good job. So it took me about a year and a half before I finally got around to doing something with that 350 block. I turned it into a 383. That was the best decision I ever made, making a stroker motor for that Camaro. The only thing was that the electronics wasn't hooked up, so that the 700R4 didn't work properly. So I had to get me a B&M transmission kit to make the track arm work with that turbo 350, because the 700R4 was longer, turbo 350 is a little shorter. Once I got that car all put together, it was a long changing this, changing that, electric fuel pump, mechanical fuel pump. That was a very fun car. The biggest problem I had was overheating. That car would overheat something bad sitting still. Going down the road, it stayed pretty cool, but sitting out here in traffic on the beach, it hated it. It'd get hot. Had twin electric fans on it, hooked to a toggle switch, that way I could turn them on and off when I wanted to, turn them off. Basically turn them off on a long drive. I was able to turn my fans off, and sitting still with the twin fans, I was able to turn them on when I wanted to. Even had a belt driven fan on it for a while. It was kind of fun for a little bit. Ended up taking that off very soon. I had the big wide tires on my back. I had a set of BFG 265/50 15s. There were some wide tires. They just barely poked out of the fenders on that Camaro. They looked really good on that car. Now my Camaro, it wasn't a show car. It wasn't a show car at all. It was the clear coat was coming off. It had a dent in the quarter behind the passenger side door. Pretty good size one at that too. But it was, like I say, it was ugly and it was loud, but it was damn sure fast. Just before I got to changing the rear end gears, and it had a 342 rear end in it. So I still had a really good top end, but I guess guys that had like a 411, I couldn't keep up with them. Off the line, I couldn't keep up with them. But on the top end, I was able to catch them and pass them. That was not an issue. But I wish I had pictures. That was back in the late 90s, early 2000s, before cell phones had cameras. I had to date myself and see how You know, because nowadays some kids they don't even know what a home phone is or a phone without a camera is. I used to take the car. I used to do security on the beach. So on certain days, I would bring that Camaro out here to the beach after work and all that stuff, because a lot of guys would go to what was called Steam Plant Road in Bay County, Florida. Here, it's just outside. It's in Panama City area, but within the Bay County area. A lot of guys know what I'm talking about. My favorite group to play with was the Slow Boy Mustang Club. They were fun. A lot of them guys, they dump a lot of money in their cars and everything else. And what was funny is mine was more of a sleeper car. It didn't roll up in there like, you know, something fine, fancy, you know, it's got a little something. Mine had a blown muffler. I blew the muffler up on it by changing out a cam. I was putting in a completely different cam, and I left the key on. And a buddy of mine, we kept messing with the distributor, trying to get it to fire up. I left the power wire to the coil unplugged. So we were just loading the cylinders up and the exhaust up with fumes. And a buddy of mine, I left the key on, and my buddy, he hooked it back. He said, "Hey, here's the problem." Hooked it back up, turned the distributor, and heard it click. And that muffler just blew slam out. And neighbors come out of it, thought it was a big explosion. It was absolutely hilarious. But when my Camaro rolled up on the scene, it was basically running straight pipes after that. There wasn't no quiet that thing down for nothing. So when my Camaro rolled up, it was loud. It had a little bit of a smoke to it. So you know, it was the chrome saw blades on it just kind of gave it a really kind of trashy look a little bit. Not really, you know, sports car deal, but it's kind of a cheap redneck trashy. Hey, you know. But when the light turned green and the light lit up, that car was gone. Some of the guys couldn't believe it. But, another one too. My first hot rod was that '81 Oldsmobile Cutlass. I bought it in Nashville. When my dad was up there. I was in my junior year in high school. I spent up there in Hendersonville. What's crazy is little side note, FYI, just fun fact is that the high school in Hendersonville in the Nashville area is called Beach High School, and their mascot was a buccaneer. No lie. Coming from Panama City Beach to Nashville, I'd have never thought I was going to go to a school called Beach High School with a mascot that's a buccaneer. That's a little FYI, but no, that Cutlass, '81 Oldsmobile Cutlass, first year of that '81 body style. It had the Buick 231 V6 in it, turbo 350, but it had the 308 gears in the back. Slow off the line, but it had a hellacious top end. Me and my dad, we pulled the motor out. I was 17. To date myself, I was 17. We pulled the 231 out, completely tore it down. When we took it and had it cleaned, the guy at the machine shop done told us it was already bored 40 over and had sleeves in it, so which made it stronger. So we was able to go through, and the guy told us a couple of fun things we can do with that motor, as well as diving into the Grand National kits they had out there for those 231s. So we Grand National kit the crap out of it. We got a stage 3 cam to go in it. Edelbrock had come out with a 4-barrel intake for those 231s. So I put a 4-barrel intake on it. Edelbrock 600 carburetor, as well as headers, dual exhaust. The only thing I didn't get to was the rear end. Still had the 308s in it. Although I did put a Positrack in it. So that gave it a little bit extra. But what was funny though is just after my senior, we moved back down here to Panama City my senior year, just after my senior year. I took that car to the track a few times, and there was one day I took it to the track. It launched great. Halfway down the track over at Powerhouse, it used to be called Powerhouse back in the day. Halfway down the track, it started bucking. So I said to myself, what in the world? Why is it bucking? And so I loaded it back up on the trailer after my one run, took it back to the house. Everything was fine with it. Drove it to work a couple of times. Everything was fine. Turn around, and the next thing I know, I got to work. It wouldn't crank. It turned over all day long. It wouldn't crank. So I kept wondering. I said, why isn't it getting fire? So I put a new coil on it and everything else. Still wouldn't get fire. So I got so upset with it that I went and found me a 72 Rocket 350 from one of the local salvage yards in Panama City, and completely rebuilt that motor, flat top pistons. It was a 355 when I was done. I didn't really put a whole lot of money into it. I had more money in that 231 that probably had more horsepower than that Rocket 350 I had did. But that Rocket 350, after I bored it out and basically it was almost back to OEM specs on there. So, but I spent more time with that motor than I did anything else. Then I'm taking a trip from Panama City to Seattle, Washington. Almost made it in 3 days. Now, when I come back, I was on a mission to come back. I made it from Seattle, Washington, back to Panama City in 3 days with that Oldsmobile. And when I was stationed in the military, I was stationed out there at Fort Riley, Kansas. Just outside the post there, they had a drag strip, which nothing like Powerhouse. You just come in there. They had a small little tower, a light tree. You can run all day. They didn't have a whole lot of pro mods there. They didn't have a lot of people with set up to where they were like competition NHR drag cars like they did at Powerhouse. But it's more of a sportsman drag strip. So I was able to make three passes in the time the sportsman category could run. That was the most fun I had with that car. 10.5 flat every time. Changed it out to them big wide tires and put some S10 wheels and tires on there. It broke out. It do 10 flat. But I just wanted to do a vlog. Hey, hope everybody's having a great day. And a couple of shout outs to Grommy Bear, always plug. I enjoy watching his videos. And a guy I really like to watch is DV over at Me and Mine TV, talking about his Camaro. He's got this absolutely beautiful SS1LE. He's over-the-road truck driver. He busted his ass and worked really hard to get that car, along with doing some track days and everything else. He's really worked on his driving skills. He's a fun, energetic guy to watch too. If y'all haven't checked out any of his videos, I urge you to go check them out. So I guess I'll end my video right here. You're watching Hot Rod Watch TV. Hope everybody has a good day.